there, my name's Jo and welcome to the MadebyJo Crafty podcast. It has been a while. It is August now. I'm not sure when the last time I filmed was, maybe May, maybe June. I have been made redundant, I have started a new job, Angus and I finished converting our camper van and have been on our first holiday. It's just been crazy. I hurt my wrists for quite a while and didn't knit for like 3 whole weeks. It's been a journey and an adventure, but I'm back. I'm not going to show you everything I made over that time because, to be honest, I can't quite remember, but I will. I do have some finished objects to show you, I have some whips to show you, and an acquisition from our recent holiday as well. So I wanted to get an episode up because I have missed podcasting. There was a period of time there that I just didn't really feel the need to. I didn't feel like I had that much to say, and I was super busy elsewhere in my life, so I didn't have time. But I feel good now. I feel like I wanted to get back in front of the camera, and it is thanks to my friend Rebecca at Moving Stitches. She actually doesn't know this, but she just messaged me about a video she's hoping to do in the future, and it just motivated me. I thought, I'm going to do something really chill. It's going to be like being on FaceTime with me, which is what she and I do, and we catch up a little bit sometimes, which is lovely. So this is just going to be a really informal chat. I don't really plan on doing any editing. I'm hoping I can just do this in like a one-take wonder and add some music and that be it. So if it's a bit rambly, I apologise. I do have my iPad because there are some things that I have done recently that I will need to look up the pattern for. So bear with me, I'm getting back used to it, but I am really actually excited to film. We're going to start with what I'm wearing. I am wearing 2 knitwear pieces. I'll start with the simple one. This is a crochet bandana that I did randomly one Sunday because I was trying to get my mojo back. It is a simple granny square or granny stitch bandana. It is in a DK yarn by Beehive Yarns, and I can't remember the colourway, but I used it in my shawl, shawl by Laura Penrose. I can't remember what the name is, and if I do remember I'll put it on the screen. But I used that colourway in that, and that has a project page on my Ravelry. So that's the first thing I'm wearing. But the second, and probably the most exciting thing that I'm wearing, is my traveller hoodie. This has been a whip since May this year, and I was working on it in a little make-along with my friend Maggie and my friend Rebecca. And I was working on it, I got the body done, pretty much everything done, then my wrists got really sore and I had to put it down for a while, and then I was demotivated and didn't want to work on it, and then all I had to do was the hood, and yeah, it took me a while, but I finally finished it yesterday. I wore it today to go to the beach with my nephews. I'm obsessed with it. This is the Traveller hoodie by Andrea Mowry. I should have said my first ever Andrea Mowry pattern. Really enjoyed it actually, thought it was a really well written pattern. The only thing that I found frustrating, and this is probably just to do with this jumper, is because you're knitting in a pattern, like a knit and purl row pattern, when you're doing short rows, which is essentially all you're doing when you knit the hood, it's like a giant, I look a bit funny, but it's like a giant sock heel, and it means that every row is written out, and in order to maintain the pattern repeat, you do have to look at the pattern and like to know which you're doing. And then so say it's a 10 row repeat, you do the 10 rows and then it says do this 4 more times, which is 40 rounds, which is just so demotivating. And then you do that for the first half of the hood, and then the second half of the hood is the same thing, like here's a 10 row or a 12 row repeat, do this 4 or 5 more times, and it's just like, oh my gosh, that was just, I don't know, that bit I found really difficult, but I think that's just because of the way the hood is constructed and also the fact that this pattern has the repeating texture on it. So other than that, I love this. Like I said, finished it yesterday, I've worn it today. It's so comfortable. I am so glad it's done in time for the autumn months. I knit this using Cookston Crafts Sport Weight 100% superwash merino in the colour Blackberry. I bought 7 of these, or my partner bought me 7 for my birthday last year, because that's what it said I would need. I think it actually said I would need 6, and I ordered a 7th to be extra sure because it was all going to get dyed together. And I still have 2 full skeins left, plus like half a cake that I haven't used. So I've got 2.5 skeins left, and it's 300 meters. So I've got, what is that, 600 meters plus 150, 750 meters left of this sport weight yarn, which is actually loads. So perhaps it needs slightly less than it suggests in the pattern. But also my gauge could have been slightly off. I haven't actually checked it in the finished pattern. But yeah, so it was Cooks and Crafts. And then for my ginormous I-cord for the drawstring, I used a Bird Street Yarns mini that came as part of their advent last year. Just one of the light pink colours, and I think it looks really sweet. And I love this. I will report back on the wear and tear, because I don't know, because I finished it yesterday. But yeah, that is what I'm wearing and what I'm obsessed with, and very, very pleased that I have. Let's move on to a simple one, a simple finished object, which is a pair of socks. I knit these pair of socks for a friend of mine. He has the same size foot as my partner, so I just got my partner to try these on and make sure they fit. It's just a basic vanilla sock on a men's stitch count, so I did 72 stitches, I think. And this is the colour Peacock from Cooks and Crafts. And then this yarn, I think, is a James Makes Yarn colourway. Something makes me think it's a James Makes Yarn. Oh, it is. It's the breast cancer colourway from James Makes Yarn, I'm pretty sure. The colourway he did to raise money for breast cancer. And traditionally I wouldn't have chosen these 2 colours together. However, my friend Jamie asked me to make his partner a pair of socks as well. So hers are in this pink colour, and I'm using this colour to do the heels and toes. So they're like a little pair of couples socks. So that's why they're a bit brighter than maybe we would have gone for if I was choosing it for myself. But I finished these, and I have made the first one of the partner socks, but I just haven't finished the second one because that one has a texture on it. I'm doing the Mermaid Avenue socks by Summerlee Knits, and I've done the first one but not the second one. So I need to pick that up and get the second one done. My third finished object is an object that I think was the reason that my wrists started to hurt, because it was on such a tiny gauge. I was using 3mm needles, and I was knitting with Sandnes Garn Sunday in the colour 3553, which is this sort of browny pinky colour. And I'm convinced that this is what hurt my wrists, because I was fine knitting on everything I was knitting on, then all of a sudden my wrists hurt and I was working on these. Not confirmed, don't know if that's actually the case, this is just mild speculation, but this is the Teddy Pants by Petite Knit, and these are freaking adorable. At the moment I'm really into baby knits. There is one baby knit, I think, just on my needles at the moment, but I bought some yarn for baby knits. I can't remember if I showed this in the last video, but I'm pretty sure I did. I've been knitting this baby knit. The next thing is also technically for a baby. So I'm really into baby knits at the moment. I don't know why. But these are the Teddy Pants by Petite Knit. Ever since I first became a knitter and saw these, I've wanted to make them. Now traditionally they're these dungarees, and then there's a embroidered face. I haven't done the face yet because I'm going to wait and see who I'm gifting these to before I decide whether or not they would want the face. And also I want to maybe practice my embroidery skills before doing that, or get some embroidery floss at least. And I also haven't added the buttons to the top yet because I'm not really sure what I want to do. The pattern suggests poppers, I think, because now I'm looking at it, we haven't put buttonholes in. So I'm going to have to work out that as well. But I think they're super duper cute, even though it hurt my wrists. The only thing that I would say about this pattern, and I got this piece of advice before I started them, but they'd been on my wish list for so long I decided to ignore people's advice and just go for it, is that there is so many ends, particularly in this top piece. Like, you can see how many ends are there that I've woven in, and then there's like the same on the front, because once you've knit the whole thing you have to pick up and knit like this neckband, then you pick up and knit this neckband, then you pick up and knit the 2 armhole bands, then you pick up and knit along the top, and there's 2 ends for each and every single one of those, and there's like 4 of these little top bits, and it really, like, the knitting of it was fine, it didn't put me up or down, but the sewing in the ends, I was like, this is awful. I had to do it as soon as I finished because I just knew I wouldn't do it if I didn't do it right away. So there's your warning. It's the warning I got and ignored, but it is true, there is a million ends in these when you get to the last section of adding all of the 2x2 rib. But in my opinion, they're super cute and probably worth it. Will I make these again? Probably, but not for a while. And also only if I can get my wrists to not hurt while I make them. Because, like I say, I'm pretty sure this gauge was the culprit for my sore wrists. So yeah, that's the Teddy Pants by Petite Knit. Adorable little pattern. I love a little baby and a little pair of dungarees, so of course that was something I was going to go for. My goodness, I've got a sore throat, sorry. The next one, I need my iPad to work out the name of the pattern. Oh, is the iPad dead? Oh no. It's always the way when I go to use this iPad that it's dead, so I'm quite glad it's not. Right, here we are. So the next pattern is by Rosarios4, and it is called Sancho, and it's a free pattern that's available online, and it is for this adorable little bear. This is Sancho himself. He is wearing a cable knit jumper. He's actually got a little end sticking out of his hand that I need to sort, but he is a fully like knit in the round bear that you stuff and then make the little nose bit and embroider it. Again, my embroidery is not perfect, but my goodness is he cute. I knit this out of, oh yeah, I told you the yarns for the other thing, out of some acrylic I had in stash, as a little baby gift. I thought this would be good. There's quite a lot of people in my life having babies at the moment, so I thought he would be a good little baby gift, but since I made him, I've kind of kept hold of him because he's adorable. Like I said, we've just finished converting a camper van, so he might just become one of our camper van mascots. But this is little Sancho. The pattern was really good, really straightforward. You only had to sew on the ears and the little nose. Everything else is like all in the round and all knit in the same time. And then obviously you knit the jumper separately. But it was a really good pattern, really straightforward. I'm a intermediate knitter and I could do it, not really a bother. Would recommend if you're looking for a little free teddy bear pattern. I know there's quite a few out there, but I found this one online and just thought he was adorable. So I knit him, and it took me 2 days. And then it took me 2 days just to sew on this little bit of face to try and get it right. But this is Sancho, would recommend. And he is my last finished object. Oh, itchy nose. Okay, we're gonna go on to whips now because I have quite a few. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, I think, at the moment, and then acquisition. So we're gonna start simple and start with a pair of socks. First of all, this is in a bag that my lovely friend got me from Wimbledon. It's a little adorable, they just call it makeup bag, a canvas makeup bag, but it's super sweet and it has the Wimbledon cup on it. So inside this Wimbledon bag is a pair of socks, or a single sock, sorry, that I cast on when we were on holiday recently because I wanted something simple to knit on. At the moment we are just on starting the heel flap. This is another men's pair or men's size sock. This is for my partner, so it's a 72 stitch sock. I just did a 2x2 rib cuff because I find that that is more elastic and that's what he likes from his socks. I don't know why I'm sitting like this. And then this pattern just comes out in the yarn itself, so that's nothing that I'm doing. I am knitting this on a 2.5mm needle, which is slightly larger than I usually do. I usually knit on a 2.25 needle, but this yarn is slightly thicker than the yarns I tend to use. This is a commercial yarn. Does the ball band? Nope, the ball band is not in there, obviously. It is, I want to say it's King Cole, but I would be lying if I said I knew that for sure. The ball band might actually be in this little pouch, in this other bag, which I use when I go on holiday to like keep all of my knitting together. Ball band may be in here. It is in here. It is King Cole Zigzag, which is a 75-25, I think. Yeah. And this is in the colour San Diego. I'm knitting it in the colour San Diego. And this is what it looks like. Little printed pattern, which I think is quite sweet. The leg really didn't take me very long, but now I'm on the heel flap. I couldn't knit on it while we were driving because that was just too much concentration for me when driving. So I need to do the heel flap and then I'll be able to take it with me as like an on-the-go stockinette in the round project. This little makeup bag from Wimbledon is really good for a pair of socks. I think it's a perfect sock size bag, but I wouldn't be able to put anything else in it because it's quite full, even though it's just a little sock bag, and I haven't taken the tag off yet. But it is adorable, and I'm really glad to my friend for getting it for me. Thank you very much, Sean. My next whip is, we'll go the next thing I cast on, is a test knit for Rebecca of the Crayabea, and it's living in my other Wimbledon bag. So my mum went to Wimbledon this year and she got me this Wimbledon bag, the slightly bigger version, and it's got strawberries on it. Oh no, I'm lying. I'm telling you a lie. My mum did not get me this. Sean also got me this, little monkey. He got me one just to say, like, because I asked him to, and he went to Wimbledon, and he got me the other one and gave it to me for my birthday, which is adorable. So this is the other Wimbledon bag that they do. This one they call Wash Bag, and it's got the different trophies and some strawberries on it. Again, thank you, Sean. And in here is living my Hoolie Blanket. The Hoolie Blanket is coming out in November, I think, and Rebecca has named it that because in Scotland, when it's really windy, we say blowing a hoolie. And when it's blowing a hoolie, you want to be wrapped up and cozy and warm in your blanket. So the Hoolie Blanket is constructed in strips, and then you can either do join as you go or sew up at the end. So I'm doing the sew up at the end method because one, I didn't know what my colours were going to look like, so I want to be able to place them once it's done, and two, it's easier to transport. Especially when we're in the van and it's nice, like it can fit in a small bag rather than becoming a massive blanket. So this was my first strip. I'm making mine all of scraps as well, I should say. Some scraps from socks I've made, some scraps from advents that I didn't use, like I didn't use certain skeins in the advent. So this yarn came from an advent calendar. This next yarn came from an advent calendar, as did this one. These all came from the same advent calendar, so I don't think I'm going to get it all on screen. But this is the whole strip. I'm doing the middle size, whatever size that is, can't remember. So that was my first strip. Then, oh, I can't remember which one was my second strip, but this is one of my other strips, which is a bit more scrappy. It's got a bunch of different yarns that I have used over time. So that's strip 2, strip 3, also scrappy, also uses advent colours and some colours that I've got in scrappy advents in the past. So that's my first 3 strips. And then inside this mesh bag is a bunch of minis, like really small blue minis, and I'm doing my blue strip now. So let me just shake it to try and get some of these. So this one doesn't have his ends woven in, so it's a little bit messy, but this is my 4th strip and it is so far my blue strip, although I think with all the minis I've got and all the tiny balls I've got, I will be able to make a couple of blue strips. So I'm knitting the Hoolie Blanket on 5mm needles, I think. Yep, 5mm needles, and I'm holding fingering weight double to do mine. And because I'm doing it scrappy, like I'm using up balls that are like this big that I've used for, I think these came from my Kintra or from my Daphne's cardigan, and that's all I had left. So I'm using up teeny tiny scraps that I didn't know what else I would be using them for. So I'm really enjoying it. The pattern is super straightforward, really easy to memorize, easy to do while you're watching TV. I would really recommend. I can't say anything about the sewing up process yet because I've obviously not started that, so maybe I will hate it and wish I did it knit as you go. But for right now, I'm really enjoying my Hoolie Blanket. And and I will continue to work on it. It's got quite a long test. I think it's like a 24-week test because it is a blanket. And I thought I was on strip 3, so to be on strip 4 is quite good. And I'm just going to keep plugging away at it, working on it whenever I can so that it grows and hopefully can be used as a sample. Or at least an example when she releases the Hoolie pattern. I think I'm going to leave my most exciting one till last, so we'll do this one, which I only cast on yesterday. Like I said, I'm really into baby knits at the moment. I think it's because they really excite my mojo because you can be creative with scraps, you don't need that much yarn, and they knit up really quickly. So for example, when I'm filming this, yesterday was the day that Knitting for Olive was donating all of their sales, 100% of their sales to Gaza, and I bought 9 patterns that had been in my favourites for a while, and I think 8 of them were kids patterns. So I am really into knitting kids stuff at the moment. Like I said, lots of people around me are having babies, so at least it works out timing wise. But this is, I'm just getting up the name of it, sorry, the Peppermint Pure Cardie, which is by the yarn brand Signet, and it was a free pattern on their website. So this is called the Peppermint Pure Cardie. I am knitting it, and I haven't got the ball band for this one, but I'm knitting it out of some acrylic yarn that I got when we were on holiday visiting Angus's granny. Her local yarn shop had a basket that just said like every skein was £2. So I got 3 skeins of 3 different like acrylic yarns that I thought would be good for baby knits, and this was one of them. I think it's Sirdar. Something makes me think it's Snuggly Spots by Sirdar. But it's just a white with some tan and more like mustardy colour spots. And I'm knitting Peppermint Pure Cardigan. Like I said, I'm in the middle of the row, which is actually not so bad to show you because it actually looks like a cardigan. I started it yesterday, last night even, and this is what we have so far. Just still working on the yoke. I think I've got 5 more increase rounds to go, and then I'll be splitting for the body and the sleeves. This is what the yarn looks like knit up, which I think is quite cute. The pattern itself just has a garter stitch neckband, and then you pick up and knit a garter stitch button band at the end, and it's just a simple raglan cardigan. I have been seeing all over Instagram people whose business it is to like use knitted items. I don't know if they knit them themselves or if they get them from people knitted, and then they crochet appliques and attach crochet appliques to the back of baby cardigans or to the bottom of the front, and I've been thinking about that basically all summer and haven't done it. So I thought I'm gonna knit this cardigan in this colourway, and I'm gonna try and crochet applique a teddy bear to go on the back, which I think would be really cute. If all else fails, my mum recently bought some teddy bear, they're like unstuffed teddy bear heads. That makes them sound really creepy, but they're like little fluffy teddy bear heads that you can sew onto clothing. So worst comes to worst, I can just sew one of them onto the cardigan if I don't like my applique, but I do want to try and crochet an applique and put it on this cardigan. So I went for a really plain one, basic stockinette with garter stitch bands and ribbing and stuff. No, garter stitch cuffs and bands, just to keep it nice and simple, and so it knits up quickly. And I'm knitting that in the 6 to 12 month size, the second size of the pattern, and I really like it. It's gone really well, and I have it in my camper van bag because I took it with me when we went on our camper van adventure today, even though I didn't knit on it, so it went in there this morning. Otherwise it had just been sitting on my bedside table. And now the pièce de résistance. I am going to fidget because my leg's going numb, but I am also in my pyjamas, so no judgment. It's a Sunday at like 6 p.m. I'm allowed to be in my jammies. If you've been watching this channel for a while, you may have heard me mention quite a few times that I have wanted to knit the Spot Sweater by Anne Bensel. I had been thinking about it for a long time. I'd picked out some yarns for a while, and eventually I was like keen to cast on, but I had the original Spot Sweater pattern, and upon review of lots of people's Ravelry posts, there was lots of issues. People who thought the neckline was too tight and came up too high. the armholes were really deep, and the fit, basically. People had a lot of complaints about the fit. And then there was a lot of notes and stuff from people to improve the fit, and I had scrolled through and read lots of people's notes, and what was putting me off was the unknown of knitting this jumper, which was already quite intimidating, and then not knowing if I was going to like the fit at the end of it. So when Anne Wenzel came out with her spot regular pattern, which was the spot sweater but in a much more traditional fit, I was really keen to get the pattern. However, I had already paid like £12 for the original spot pattern, and it really annoyed me, the thought that I was going to have to pay £12 again for the second pattern. Even though I totally know that patterns are worth their money, but what annoyed me is that I'd bought a pattern that I couldn't use because the fit basically had so many complaints. So that put me off for months because I didn't want to buy the pattern. And then my sister contacted me, my birthday's in July, and she contacted me and she said, what do you want for your birthday? And I thought, why don't I ask them? Why don't I ask for the pattern for my birthday? And then that will inspire me to get started. So that's what I did. So my sister gifted me the spot regular pattern, and I cast on. Now this has been on my to knit list for years, like basically since I started knitting. I don't know if you can see this high, but it's on my board to do, and I am so happy that it started. I'm just keeping it in this bag for now because it's got like a bunch of minis in bags that need wound up. And I am knitting it in one strand of Knitting for Olive Merino in the colour Cream, and one strand of undyed Suri alpaca silk that I had in stash for some reason. I think I bought it a long time ago to knit something else, but it was in stash, so I'm pairing those two together for the main colour. And then I am using the Cookston Crafts Succulents Advent Calendar from 2024. That is the Advent I'm using, and I'm using all of the colours because I told myself I wasn't allowed to buy another Advent for this year until I had used my previous Advents. So I had one from 2 years ago, which was Beehive Yarns, which I used in my Kintra earlier this year, and then I had this one, the Cookston Crafts one, which I'm now using in my spot sweater. I've decided I'm not buying one this year anyway. I'm not buying an Advent anyway this year. I'm going to give myself a break, but at least now I know that I've used the yarn that came in over Advent time. But anyway, I'm going to stop waffling and I'm just going to show you it because I love it. It is amazing to me. It is on needle. Yeah, it is. That's the sleeves that are on hold. But this is what it is looking like. So we started up here in the super light purples, and then we moved down, I'm trying to pull it so you can see all the colours. We moved down through dark purple into pinky purples, and now we are going into like bright pinks and oranges. And I'm obsessed with this jumper. I just think it looks so good. Like, I can't believe I knit this. It looks amazing. It's so soft, and it's going to be such a staple for me. Like, I love wearing bright colours, and I think this is a really lovely way to do so. Like I said, I'm starting a new job, and their dress code is a little bit more strict than my old job, but this is like the perfect way to have a really, like, overall this is a neutral jumper but with a rainbow on it, and I love it. So this is my spot sweater by Anne Wenzel. Even with the changes to the pattern, the spot regular pattern, everyone says the first 12 rows are really difficult, but once you get past that it's easy. I just followed the instructions really closely and I didn't have any issues. I didn't have to restart, and it has been a breeze since then. It is a very regular raglan increase pattern. I don't know why I said raglan increase pattern with colour work, and it's charted and it's been a breeze. And now I have split for sleeves. I have tried it on and I really like it so far, and I've just done like one colour repeat after the armhole. The thing you do have to be aware of, and you're probably expecting, is there is a lot of ends. I have been weaving my ends as I go. For example, when I split for sleeves, I went back and I wove in, let me see if I can show you. I went back and I wove in all of the ends for the first bit. And I'm just going to go every sort of 3 or 4 colour repeats and weave the ends back in. I'm really proud of my floats actually. Look at all of these. It's looking beautiful on the inside, pretty even I would say. But yeah, this has been, it feels crazy to me that I'm like looking at this jumper because this has been on my to knit list for so long, and it's just crazy to me that I've started it. And actually I've had, because I've been knitting on this and because the hood has been quite taxing, I've then been like not working on this as much, and now that I've pulled it out and I'm looking at it again, I'm really motivated to get knitting on this. So now this is done, this is going to be my main whip I think for the next wee while, and I can't wait. Again, I think the main thing that's putting me off this jumper is that I have to, my winder broke, my ball winder broke, and I paid for quite an expensive one. I have the Leica wooden one, and the actual rubber like band that goes round when you spin it broke, so less than ideal, and I don't think you can replace that, which is really annoying when you spend like 60 quid on a ball winder. So I think I'm just going to get myself a cheap one, but right now I'm having to wind every mini by hand into a ball, and that's what's putting me off because I can't be bothered to do that. So I need to sit down and maybe do 3 or 4, and then I know that the next 3 or 4 is knit up, or is able to be knit up, and then I'll be motivated to work on my spot sweater. But that is the pièce de résistance of my whips right now. And that is all of my whips. So what have I got? A pair of socks, a blanket, and a jumper. Is that it? I've only got 3 whips. Have I only got 3 whips right now? I just showed you them and I've completely forgot them. Is that right? Or am I being daft? Did I put one back in here? A pair of socks, a blanket, my spot sweater. Oh, and the baby cardigan. I am being daft. The other thing I'm going to show you just while I have it here is my mum and I got these adorable little bags. Got dogs on. They're absolutely mammoth. They've got a drawstring bit that pops up as well. The company that's on here says Hobby Gift, www.sewgroup.com, and it's just called the Drawstring Knitted Bag. When we bought these, I think we bought them off of Etsy, and I thought it was like a small handmade bag person. Like that's the vibe it gave, and it's definitely not. It's definitely commercially made. However, it's massive. It really wasn't that expensive, and it's adorable. So, would recommend. It says Hobby Gift on the side, so you should be able to find it that way. Right. Finally then, we'll move on to acquisitions, and I only have one. I've bought other yarn. Oh, my doorbell just rang. Be right back. Our friend just stopped over. Gave me time to grab a brownie as well. So excuse me. Should have had my drink before I restarted. Where was I? So, I have bought yarn recently. I think I've cancelled all my clubs, so I've not been getting clubs anymore. But I did buy some yarn, like I said, when I went to visit Agnes's granny. And I bought myself some self-striping sock yarn as well recently for a birthday present. But I'm not actually sure where that is right now. It is somewhere in the mess that is my craft room. But recently I went to Wales. That's where we went on our opening trip with our van Nelly, and we were predominantly in northern Wales. And when we were there, something I really wanted to do was to get some Welsh wool, because I wanted to get something that would remind me of the trip and would also just be like a nice way to remember our time there, especially because it was our first like long trip in the van. So we went to quite a few places, but we went to Conway, and in Conway there is a yarn shop which is called You Felty Thing, as in EWE, Felty Thing. And while we were there, I saw this yarn which was 100% Welsh wool. It was DK. I really liked it, but they only had 6 skeins and I needed 8. The yarn shop itself is beautiful. It's got a selection of hand-dyed yarn, it's got a selection of commercial yarns, and while I was there I bought a West Yorkshire Spinners yarn that I'd been looking for. But when we were actually there I couldn't buy the Welsh yarn that I wanted, but I did take note of the brand and they had a little card. So when we were in Conway, walking along the town walls, I googled this place and I ordered the yarn. So I did buy it when we were in Wales and it arrived home a couple days after us. So the company, I'm not even going to try and pronounce that, but it's Cambrian Wool, which is the flock of Wales, and it says fine Welsh wool, but this is what the company name is. And when I ordered this, they sent this little card with a nice note on the back, and they also sent 2 like labels to go in your item. So this one says 100% Welsh wool traceable to the Cambrian mountain regions of Wales, and it's this adorable little, their little logo, but it's a massive label. And then they also sent a smaller one which would go in the back of a jumper quite nicely. So I thought it was really sweet that they sent those little labels to go in the back of your Welsh item. And then they sent me 8 skeins, or excuse the crinkle, of their DK weight yarn. And I got it in what I would probably describe as last year's Brat summer colour. The name of this, it's number 6. It's at the bottom there. Again, I'm not going to butcher some Welsh on the screen, but it says 100% Welsh wool from the Cambrian mountains. Our premium wool is the finest grade of Welsh mule. The name is given to the local Welsh breed when crossed with Blueface Leicester. And I just thought it was really cute. It is 100 metres for 50 grams. It is hand wash only, which is kind of to be expected. And as someone who has sensitive skin, this seems like it's going to work for me. It isn't super soft, but it's also not itchy at all. And I really like it. So I got 8 of these, and I'm going to make the Lulu slipover by Petite Knit. I don't own the pattern, but I will own the pattern. It is a turtleneck vest that has 2 buttons on either side underneath the arms. And when I was in the shop, I was really didn't want to buy the yarn without a purpose. But it also didn't work for a lot of the other patterns in my queue. But this one was in my favourites. The Lulu slipover was in my, I think that's what it's called, was in my favourites on Ravelry. So when I worked out that that could be done in this yarn, and that I needed 8 skeins, I thought that's what we're gonna knit. So I'm gonna have a green vest, which I think is gonna be really sweet. The company I work for now, one of their colours is green. It's not this green, it's like dark green, but it's kind of on brand. Plus I just think that this is like another nice way of like adding a pop of colour to your wardrobe with like a white shirt or a white t-shirt, or a white long sleeve or a black long sleeve. Like I just think it'll add a pop of colour without it being a massive jumper as well. So that is my most recent acquisition. Excuse the crinkling. And I think that's everything I've got for you. There is, like, I have been doing some sewing, but I've not got anything here to really show you. I've been thinking a lot about crochet recently, but haven't really been crocheting. I've got a crochet cardigan on my mind that I kind of want to make. But that's mainly what I've been working on over the summer period. I didn't think I was in a rush for it to be autumn. I went into the shops the other day and there was autumn stuff out, all their pumpkin stuff is out. And I did think to myself, come on guys, it's still August. But then over the last sort of 24 to 48 hours, I've been feeling more and more autumnal. I've been feeling a little bit under the weather, which always happens at this time of year, change of seasons, and also just generically summer when you, and my new job I have to go into the office, which I didn't have to do previously. So being around people more, the fringe is on in Edinburgh, so I'm around a lot more people. So it's just like the standard time to get ill, but getting a bit ill, it's been a bit chilly in the evenings. I've just been feeling a little bit autumnal. I want to put a candle on. I put my fairy lights on in my living room the other day and it just made me feel so magical. And I love this time of year. I've actually been leaning into Halloween, which I don't tend to like. So I don't know if it is just the autumn vibes and then Halloween comes along with that. But I'm thinking about what I want to work on other than this stuff that might be a bit autumnal. But there's not too much outside of what I've got here that I want to work on right now. And I'm also thinking ahead to winter. I do not want to wish away the year because time is moving so fast and I don't like that. And I want to make the most of every second, but equally I have been looking at Christmas cross stitch kits from Caterpillar Cross Stitch, and yeah, just thinking about how much I love being like cozied up with a blanket in the autumn. This summer has been hot, like warm. Like we've been able to wear shorts and t-shirt almost every single day in Scotland, and that is not normal. Like normally it's a hoodie, but it's not been the case this summer, and I haven't done very well with that. I'm an anxious person, and one of the things that really affects me and my anxiety is heat and temperature. Temperature really impacts me, so when I get too hot, I'm not a good human being. So that's been difficult this summer. But I have been able to wear some of my summer t-shirts on the cooler days, but mainly it's just been like shorts and a regular t-shirt this summer. So I am looking forward to wearing my knits a bit more as well. But anyway, I'm just rambling now. Thank you for coming back to listen to me talk about what I've been working on the last couple months. Sorry for the massive break, just wasn't really feeling it and I had a lot else going on, so took a little gap for myself. I'm hoping to be back a bit more regularly. I'm not going to make any promises though, because like I don't want to be like, oh, I'm going to be back and then have a little break again. So we'll just see, make sure my wrists are still okay. Like I said, I've just started a new job last week, so it is very busy. I am now in the office. So I think my knitting progress is going to be slower because when I get home I'm tired and then I want to go to bed. So we'll just see how that goes. It might be next month, who knows, or I might get super excited about all this stuff and be finished next week. But this being done and my friends talking about filming new videos really motivated me to jump on and chat with you this Sunday evening. So I hope you've enjoyed it. I have enjoyed catching back up with you. I hope you're well. I hope you are enjoying knitting, and let me know down below if you are excited about autumn or if you're clinging on to summer because you're a summer baby, and what out of all of my whips has been your favourite this episode. That would be wonderful to hear. As always, you can catch me over on Instagram. I am designs.madebyjo on Instagram, and I'm quite active on there. I'm trying to step away from Instagram a little bit for my personal use, but I do still post on my stories fairly regularly in regards to what I'm working on. So you can catch me over there if you want to. If you've made it this far in the video, please do like, and if you're not already subscribed, please subscribe. I am so close to 1,000 subscribers, and if I hit that this year I would be overjoyed. So if you enjoyed it and you're not subscribed, I would love for you to join me. It's free, it doesn't cost you anything, just alerts you when I post. And if you could like it, it just helps me, it helps YouTube show me to other people that watch similar things to what you watch. So if it wouldn't be too much of a bother, I would ask that you do that. Otherwise, have a great day, have a great week, and we'll catch up soon. Bye.